Paragraph of Rabbi Hardstark's letter, which not only do I concur with, I think I could have written. And that is the final paragraph where he discusses the terrible, terrible way in which this debate has been conducted, the disrespectful way in which it has been conducted. Particularly people who take it upon themselves to disparage young students whom they've never met and probably will never meet. And I would like to think that even whereas in his beautiful language Rabbi Hardstark says we recognize the sanctity and dignity of each person, and we find ways to support their spiritual growth in different ways. I would like to think that my approach, the approach of the RJC, even as it acknowledges certain boundaries which we will not and would not have crossed, it begins from the same premise of the sanctity and dignity of each person, and that our striving, that even as we are committed to the halachic process in its classical application, even as we are committed to the growth of bimorphic Judaism, even as we are committed to values that not only cohere within halacha, but actually derive from it and represent the expression of the halacha in its most exalted form. That our striving for authenticity will never, ever go unbalanced by a dedication to the striving for humanity, to use his words, to recognize the sanctity and dignity of each person. So now, for the executive summary, in case anyone has nodded off, there's been a very long talk. But you know what? I'm not apologizing. Shabbos, you need the sermon to be under whatever X minutes because you have a cholent waiting. We already fed you, so don't complain. But this is a very delicate and very nuanced subject. And I don't apologize for not taking shortcuts, at least in my understanding. In the executive summary, I respectfully differ with the SAR conclusion. I differ based on a different interpretation of halachic process, or halachic justification. From that difference, I emerge continuing my support for my yeshivas and for my colleagues. I think that in Rabbi Krauss and Rabbi Hardstark, SAR has secured for itself two of the most extraordinary Jewish educators in the world. I don't know of anyone in the field of Jewish education who has been more thoughtful and creative in his whole approach, basically reinventing high school education, than Rabbi Hardstark. And K'tzas Shivchel Shel Adam B'fanav, I won't say more. And so despite the fact that I disagree on this issue, I have not, so to speak, changed my mind about the worthiness of Aaron HaKohen's descendants in our generation, our community. And I commit with them to pull no punches in expressing our opinions, L'man Hashem and L'man Klal Yisrael, with absolute clarity and without apology. but also to expressing them under the shared mandate of sanctity and dignity, so that Hashem will not only be proud of our conclusions, because of course each side thinks he's right, but that he will also not be ashamed of the spirit in which we processed our disagreements. And I hope that every child in SAR, including the two young women who I assume will continue to put on tefillin, know that there is just a regular shul rabbi in Riverdale who loves them very much and who hopes that Hashem will guide them and prosper their way wherever it will be. Just as I know that the educators in SAR feel exactly that way about the children whose families will tell them that this course of action has no place in a halachic school or a halachic community. I know I've kept you a very long time, but if there are those who would like to ask me questions in public, I suppose I should offer Rabbi Hartstark the first javelin. If there are those who would like to ask questions in public, I'm happy to receive a few. If there are those who would prefer to ask their questions to me in private, then I am always and ever at your disposal. Was there anyone who wanted to ask anything publicly, or I'll just warn you poor people down to a nub? Thank you very, very much for coming. Yes.
For those who aren't a member of the SAR parent community, are copies of Rabbi Hartstark's letter available?
If you will send me your email, I will email you a copy. And it is a beautiful letter. Okay? Thank you so much, everyone.